The room fell silent for half a second, the kind of silence that weighs heavier than noise. A young waitress lay on the diner floor, coffee spreading beside her like a dark stain. Laughter broke out, but it came from the wrong place. One laugh rang louder than the rest, careless, mocking, and worn with a badge. No one in that diner realized that this single cruel moment witnessed by the wrong man was about to become a lesson the town would never forget. And no one, especially not that officer, had any idea that kindness, not anger, would be the force that changed everything. Before we dive into this powerful story, take a moment to support real stories of kindness. Subscribe to the channel, tap the like button if stories like this move you, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread meaningful stories about compassion, dignity, and doing the right thing. The diner sat just off a quiet Texas highway, the kind of place where the coffee was always hot and the faces were familiar. Regulars filled the booths every morning, truckers, retirees, local workers, all sharing small talk and routine comfort. Emma had been working there for nearly a year. At 22, she was putting herself through community college, saving every extra dollar she could. That morning, she was exhausted before her shift even began. Her mother had been sick again, and Emma had stayed up late helping her. Still, she tied her apron, brushed her hair back, and put on a smile. She believed in doing her best. Even on hard days, around noon, a police officer walked in. He was tall and broad-shouldered, carrying himself as if the room belonged to him. People noticed. Some nodded politely. Others kept their heads down. Emma greeted him the same way she greeted everyone, with a warm hello and a menu. But as she passed his table, her shoe caught on something. Later, no one could say exactly how it happened. What witnesses did say was that the officer stuck his foot out, just enough. Emma never stood a chance. She went down hard. The tray crashed. Coffee splashed. Pain shot through her knee, and embarrassment burned hotter than the spilled drink. Then came the laugh. Not a nervous chuckle. Not an awkward sound. A full, loud laugh that echoed through the diner. A few people gasped. Others looked away. Emma struggled to get up, her hands shaking, her face flushed, her eyes wet. No one should ever be made to feel that small. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. Though she'd done nothing wrong. The officer smirked. "Watch where you're going next time," he said. That was when the bell above the diner door rang. An older man walked in, calm, steady, dressed simply in a jacket and jeans. He didn't need an introduction. Even if you'd never seen his movies, there was something unmistakable about him. A quiet confidence, a grounded presence. It was Chuck Norris. He was passing through town, keeping a low profile, stopping for a late lunch. He had seen the fall. He had heard the laugh, and he didn't like it. Chuck walked to Emma first. He knelt beside her, his voice gentle. "Are you okay, miss?" Emma nodded, forcing a small smile. "I think so, sir." He helped her to her feet slowly, making sure she could stand, then picked up the broken tray and set it aside. He didn't rush. He didn't raise his voice. But everyone in the diner could feel it. Something was about to happen. Chuck didn't say anything at first. He simply looked at Emma, really looked at her as if she mattered. Then he slowly turned toward the officer. The atmosphere in the diner shifted instantly. No one spoke. Even the officer seemed uncertain, though he tried to hide it behind a smug grin. "You thought that was funny?" Chuck asked quietly. The officer shrugged. "It was an accident." Chuck shook his head. "Number accidents don't laugh?" The officer scoffed. "You got a problem, old man?" Chuck smiled. But it wasn't a friendly smile. It was calm, controlled, unshakable. "I have a problem with cruelty," he said, "especially when it comes from someone wearing a badge." The officer stood up, puffing out his chest. "You don't tell me how to do my job." Chuck nodded slowly. "You're right, I don't, but kindness does. And today, you failed at it." Whispers rippled through the diner. Someone recognized Chuck. A few phones came out, then quickly went back down as Chuck raised a hand, signaling he didn't want attention. He turned back to Emma. "Take a seat," he said gently. "Let's get some ice for that knee." The diner owner rushed over, apologizing repeatedly. Chuck waved him off. "She deserves respect, not excuses." The officer's face tightened. "You think you're some kind of hero?" Chuck met his eyes without flinching. "Number just a man who believes real strength is shown by how you treat people who can't fight back." Silence fell again. A few minutes later, another police car pulled up outside. A local sergeant stepped in, responding to a quiet call someone had made. He scanned the room once and asked, "What happened here?" Several customers spoke up, calmly, clearly telling the truth. The sergeant listened, his jaw tightening as he turned to the officer. "Is this true?" he asked. The officer hesitated, then shrugged. "She fell." The sergeant shook his head. "We're going to talk outside." As the door closed behind them, the diner finally breathed again. Chuck sat across from Emma as she iced her knee. "You didn't deserve that," he said. Her voice trembled. "Thank you for standing up for me." Chuck smiled warmly. "You're worth standing up for." Before leaving, Chuck paid for everyone's meals. He left a generous tip and a note for Emma. It read, "Kindness is a form of strength. Don't ever forget that." The story spread quickly, not because of who Chuck Norris was, but because of what he did. The officer faced consequences. The department issued an apology. Training was reviewed. And more importantly, people started talking to their kids, their friends, and themselves about kindness. Emma finished school. She became a nurse. She still carries that note in her wallet. And Chuck, he moved on quietly, just as he had arrived. No speeches, no headlines. Because real kindness doesn't shout. It shows up when someone falls, reaches down without judgment, and reminds the world that compassion is the strongest force there is. If this story touched your heart, carry it forward. Be the person who stands up. Be the person who helps. And remember, kindness can change everything.